And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia number 192. I'm, of course, your side VIP, and with me, I'm joined, oh god, joined by the lovely people in the chat. I'm dying, help. Okay, we're good. We are good, and you know what? I can't be kept away because we have a beautiful ZvZ ahead of us. We have spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales, the best player in all of the Philippines. We have Caviar Napoleon Marquises Acampado himself. It is EnDerr. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing On-Site Gaming. It is Solar. And I totally didn't just finish eating. I apologize for the late start. I apologize for the delayed start of the cast, but we just had some technical issues. I was actually having a really hard time connecting to the Korean server. I had to restart my client and start it again, and it took a while. But we made it here. We made it here just in time for this beautiful ZvZ between Southeast Asia and the land of South Korea. And EnDerr has been on that grind. He has been playing a lot of StarCraft, has been streaming a lot of StarCraft as well. It's been great to see EnDerr just reinvigorated. The passion is back. The fire has been lit under him, and now he's here looking to mix things up, going for a pool first opener, so a very safe opener, I would say, from EnDerr. Is still making workers, going for a bit of a later gas geyser, so there's some pros and cons to this. Pros and cons, and I wouldn't be surprised if EnDerr does go for maybe even a 2-base Roach opener. We'll see. The downside to this later gas is obviously Solar has a much crisper timing, a faster timing with link speed and with banelings as well, so EnDerr should be aware of that. He may just skip link speed entirely and wall off and go straight for 2-base Roach instead, or he could try and play catch up and be a little bit more defensive overall. As the Overlord does scatter across the map and does confirm that the hatchery is later than it should be, so Solar is fully aware of the pool first opener of his opponent. And back at home, Solar, he's just making an extra pair of lings. Queens are on the way. These lings are going to be scouting to make sure he is able to get a read on any kind of ling all-in or a ling flood from his opponent. Solar, he confirms that it's a faster pool. It could be a faster gas as well. It could be a gas pool opener for all he knows, so Solar has to piece this together. Does have to piece it together as the two lings are going to be dipping into the main base. They get past the queen and they get confirmation of a link speed that's on the way, and the drones that just popped out as well. So now he knows he's safe. There's no weird kind of link flood coming his way. We have a safety baneliness on the way, and Solar is free to take his third base. So again, a great scout from our red Zerg player and a great response as well, able to just be very economic and very safe. Meanwhile, when it comes to EnDerr, a couple of interesting things are occurring here where he did go for link speed. It is, of course, later than his opponents, but he is going for link speed nonetheless, and this is scouted and confirmed. Meanwhile, EnDerr still on 2 bases, taking additional gases. He cancels link speed, which is what I expected to happen. I mentioned earlier that when you go for pool first, typically you skip link speed. I love that EnDerr, he's going for some mind games right now. He shows link speed, but cancels it in the end. This is looking like 2-base Spire, 2-base Lair play, or just straight up 2-base Roach. As we are walling off here on 2 bases, Solar back at home, none the wiser. He's got a safety baneliness on the way. The lings are going to be applying some pressure here to the bases of EnDerr, but he does have a queen in position, does have a transfuse available, and we only took 3 gases, not 4 gases, so this is not enough to go into muta play. We do have a layer on the horizon, yes, but a Roach Warren is thrown down, and +1 range is started here for our blue Zerg player. So again, 2-base Roach is very common here, especially off of pool first openers. It all makes plenty of sense. Solar, he's aware of this. Back at home, he is... Oh, actually, I love it. Solar, he cancelled his Bailey Nest, going for a faster Evo Chamber for faster Roach Warren. He's getting into his own Roach play, correctly identifying that his opponents won't be aggressive anytime soon, at least not with Link Bane. So he knows that Banelings are useless, essentially. Meanwhile, behind this EnDerr, he's going to be cutting workers pretty early on. 41 draw. Oh, no! The Queens are out of position. The Lings, they floated in. They confirm the gas count. They see the lair. They see that only 3 gases were taken. Drones are getting picked off. So very good pickups here from Solar. We don't really want to be making any workers right now because EnDerr is going all in. EnDerr makes 2 drones, but that's only because 2 drones just went down, so he has to replace them. We do have a 3rd base on the way for EnDerr. I wonder if he does intend to actually saturate this 3rd or to push out with +1 instead. He will have a little bit of a faster timing here with his upgrades with +1 and with roach speed. We'll keep our eyes on EnDerr. We can see that he still hasn't taken his 4th gas geyser. He's still making nothing but roaches. Across the map, EnDerr goes for his own scout. He does confirm the lair at least. Does get eyes on the lair and does also confirm the lack of additional gases. So now EnDerr knows he's not being 2-ace muted. We do have a 4th gas geyser here at the 3rd base actually. So Soul's economy is looking pretty terrifying. We do see that these overlords are going to be shooing away another one of these overlords, and EnDerr is sending everything through the center of the map. Behind this though, he's droning. So it looks like EnDerr, he's posturing with his army. He's revealing his hand here to his opponent, but Solo doesn't really take the bait. He does amass an army, don't get me wrong, but we still have drones on the way. Solo's getting 2 more drones. He's getting another gas geyser. Solar, he's not fully overreacting to this. He's respecting it, don't get me wrong. Does have a pretty formidable army here for Solar, but he's still droning. Is still aware that the army is staying back at home. EnDerr likewise also trying to macro out of this as well. EnDerr, he has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to the worker count. Does have a 2-1 on the horizon, so EnDerr is going to be looking to hit a later timing instead. I appreciate as well that Solar did pull back those overlords, so these Ravagers are having a hard time finding any damage. Having a hard time finding any straight overlords. Looking at the slots tab, only 1 overlord of Solar went down to the Queens earlier. And yeah, Solar, he still maintains his economic lead. He's on 5 gases, fully saturated. Now Solar's focusing on his own roach army. But again, it's going to be EnDerr who can hit a stronger timing with these 2 upgrades. It won't be the most impactful timing, this 2-1, but it's, you know, it is going to help nonetheless. As the overlord does barely survive. Both players even trying to snipe each other's overlords. Trying to keep each other honest. Ooh, EnDerr is supply blocked. A pretty big supply block actually, as Solar is looking to max out. He is up in supply. EnDerr, he needs to get out of this. He needs more roaches. And there we go. 6 more roaches are in production. These upgrades are about to kick in. Solar just, you know, vying for map control, just going to be posturing here. The overlords do spot everything, so again, EnDerr, he's at least not in the dark. He's aware of whether or not there is going to be an attack coming his way. I appreciate the drop lord here for EnDerr as well, to try to go for some multi-prong harassment, and there we go. The drop lord is moving out across the map. And here comes the main army of EnDerr. Here we go. It all does end here. Both armies are about to max out. EnDerr being forced back does lose one of his roaches. And Solar are going to catch some of these Ravagers as well. EnDerr really having a hard time getting caught out of position. Big pickup for Solar. At the same time, we do have that drop lord headed towards the main base. EnDerr trying to find a way in, but again, did have a rough start. Solar going for his own big roach counterattack. Likewise, we do have that drop into the main base of Solar as well, forcing him to turn back around. As both players were maxed out. Drones are pulling the Queen in the main base as well, so EnDerr getting a lot of damage done. At the same time, he does meet up with that roach counterattack. He does shut it down. Solar trying to push through the center of the map, but EnDerr is waiting for him. And EnDerr is up in upgrades. EnDerr looking a little bit better here overall. He has a better concave. He was able to shut down the run by. He was able to do damage of his own. He still has roaches in the main, forcing Solar to split up his army. But can EnDerr do more than that? Can he deal with this? Up the buzz! Ooh, he does take some big bars to the face. go for some bios of his own. Solar is going to be forced back. A couple of drones did fall here on the left-hand side. Looks like one roach is still alive. And Solar just trying to bypass the army. He's going to get on top of the fourth base. That will force a cancel. Up. Ooh, once again, EnDerr taking some bios to the face, but he does get on top of the Ravagers. Does get one. One Ravager goes down. EnDerr trying to force the issue, takes more biles, and this is not going to be the fight for EnDerr. Reinforcements are coming in, and Solar has an overwhelming army. Likewise, you can see Solar, his macro a little bit more on point. EnDerr has a bank that he just wasn't able to spend, whether it was injects. I'm sure it was mainly just injects. And Solar's breaking on through. EnDerr, I mean, I say injects, but on top of that, Solar, he had an extra base, he had extra larva. Solar was able to reproduce his army, and EnDerr, not so much. Big biles will connect, and Solar is breaking on through. He takes down the army of EnDerr. EnDerr was keeping up for a while there, but GG gets called, and Solar takes game number 1. GG, well played. Ooh. Again, a pretty straight up game overall. We had some interesting openers, and oh, I should fix that. Solar, he is not random. Bam, there we go. We had some interesting openers, but alas, Solar, he was able to scout everything. He was able to go in with his Link Scout initially, also confirm with his Overseer Scout as well, if you remember. Sorry, not Overseer Scout, just a follow-up Link Scout, actually, that flooded into the main. And yeah, Solar, who was able to get a read on what EnDerr was up to. Did not overcommit, did not overextend, and yeah, really solid play out of Solar. There were moments for EnDerr, like, for example, the Drop Lord play, but the reality is that EnDerr, he was down a base for a long time there, and it wasn't really about mining. Like, they had pretty comparable economies or worker counts, but it really came down to the larva, clearly at the end there. EnDerr, he was struggling to keep up macro-wise, production-wise, with the Roach army of Solar. Just wasn't able to rebuild as quickly as his opponent. And yeah, it did end up, or Solar just ended up overcoming him in the end. And now we are getting into our next game. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Grass Farm, we have the best player in all the Philippines. Oh, let's go, Papi, as he is... Oh, both players, actually. Oh, my God. Okay. We're popping off. We have Caviar Napoleon Marquises Acambado himself, the Blue Zerg player. It is EnDerr. And spawning... Oh. Okay. In the top left, I don't know if he's going to do that again, but Solar was going for a 12-11. That's why I was freaking out. He went for a 12 pool into an 11 gas. Very aggressive, very all in, but that may just be because of the wrong server that was hosted. So it's possible that he may not do that again. We'll see. We'll see, as we are remaking that game. They were on the Taiwanese server and was meant to be played out on the Korean server, so that they are remaking. It's all good. No harm, no foul, no drama. I wonder though, is Solar gonna commit to the 12-11? Oh boy, it's gonna be really bold if he does. As here we go, we have switched sides and we have a drone on the way. So this time, no 12 pool. This time, in the bottom right hand corner of Grass Farm, we have the red Zerg player representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Filipino Zerg player. Oh, I gotta do it again. What is his name? Who is he? He is Caviar Napoleon Marquises Acambado. It is EnDerr. One of the best names in StarCraft. It's an old meme, but it checks out. For those wondering, way back in the day, 2020, back in 2020, as we have hatch first from both players, so standard openers. Back in 2020, or back in the day, we used to host yearly show matches. At the end of the year, we would have a show match. We would call it the Ducklings Showdown, and it's been a while. It's been a while since we've had one of those. We didn't have one this year. We didn't really have the funds for it, unfortunately. We had our pro team instead, so we couldn't quite afford it. But up until this year, we would have these yearly kind of wrap-up show match events. And for our first big year of StarCraft, we ended up having a show match between the Southeast Asian scene and the Latin American scene. And we had Miyamika versus Cham, which was the highlight of the night. But we also had Jim Rising versus EnDerr. And the reason why we had them is because of their names. They have some really extravagant like IRL names, and for whatever reason we kind of like tied them together in that way. For EnDerr, it is Gavian Napoleon Marquises Acabado, which is beautiful. It's amazing. Napoleon is in his name. Oh my god. For Jim Rising, it's Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio, papi. He has Duran in his name. He had to play StarCraft. It was in his blood. So yeah, we had a show match between the two of them. It was beautiful. And ever since then, whether it's myself or Yaku or some of the other CranKy Ducklings as well, we gotta say the full name. It's beautiful. Of course, there's Max Angel, other like really big names that spark confidence, power, an aura. I don't. There's some, obviously Estrella is another big one, of course, but yeah, for us it was EnDerr and Jim Rising. I've never even met these people in my life before, but I'm gonna remember their IRL names, their full names. Oh my god, it's crazy. As we're getting into this, and so far, hatch gas pool, everything's looking very normal, very standard here between our two players. Bailey Nessa on the way. No one is skipping anything. We do have Solo with a hidden Roach Warren in the main base, though, so very cheeky stuff here from Solar. EnDerr, his own Roach Warren, also hidden in. Oh my god. Great minds. They do think alike. Like, we had a pretty, what became a pretty close back and forth ZvZ in game one, pretty comparable to each other. Likewise, something similar here. So Solar, he has a much faster Roach Warren, so already Roaches are on the way. We do have a Ling Roach all-in coming up from Solar. The fact that this Roach Warren is later for EnDerr, it doesn't matter as much. It is just scouted, and Solar, I love this. As soon as he sees a Roach Warren, he knows, okay, my opponent has defensive Roaches on the way. This push isn't going to be enough, and Solar, he did make a wave of drones. Now, we'll see if Solar keeps making workers here. I wonder if he's going to commit upon seeing the defensive structure here of EnDerr and the ability to make Roaches, or if he doubles down. And there we go. Solar is droning behind this. So if EnDerr did not have a Roach Warren, I'm pretty sure he would have committed to the all-in. But again, Solar, he's just going to be applying pressure here with his Roaches. Do we have enough here to defend for EnDerr, though? We do have 8 Roaches in production, but are they out in time? Solar has arrived. 8 Roaches here, but the Roaches of EnDerr, they come out just in time. They will be deflecting Solar. Thankfully for Solar, though, as he backs off, he's droning. He takes an economic lead, and EnDerr, you could argue, has overreacted a little bit. Or has he? He has to make use of this army, so he did make an abundance of Roaches. He does have a Roach lead, but now he has to make use of it. He has to go across the map. Now, he doesn't have to commit. He could just back off from here. He's forcing a Spine Crawler, forcing more Roaches. He's forcing a reaction out of Solar, and in ZvZ, that is sometimes enough. Because we see EnDerr back off. He backs off. Immediately, Solar, he cancels the Spine Crawler. He goes back into droning. And this is kind of like a really big part of ZvZ, the ebb and flow of actually making workers. And trying to fake your opponent out into making units instead. And especially with no Roach speed, like, it's really difficult to be too aggressive. So just faking your opponent out and trying to force units instead of drones it's pretty important in this matchup. It doesn't sound like a lot, and I know it doesn't really look too flashy, and sometimes it can just go under the radar, but I mean, because of that, essentially, Solar, he has a 10 worker lead. Like, that's pretty insane. He has a massive worker lead right now. And EnDerr is gonna be committing here instead. He's gonna be cutting workers at 47. He's making nothing but roaches. He's going for one big all-in. He does have the supply lead. Solar throwing down spine crawlers once again. This time EnDerr is gonna commit. This time he's gonna force himself up the ramp, and Solar is in a little bit of trouble. He's down in army supply. The spine crawler is gonna help out, but it's still only halfway done. And here we go. The Banelings are rolling on forward. EnDerr forcing his way up the ramp. Is getting on top of these roaches. Not a lot of energy for Transfuse. Boys were being pulled. They were forced back because of those Banelings, and it looks like Solar is barely going to hold on. The spine crawler has finished. More reinforcements are on the way. The Transfuses were clutch. And Solar has enough. Like, EnDerr, he had to make it work here and now, and he's barely breaking through. But again, the defender's advantage is just too strong. And EnDerr, he is far behind in the economy. +1 is soon to kick in for Solar, so he's about to catch up in the upgrades. And now, it's Solar's turn. Now it is Solar's turn here to move out. He's got road speed. EnDerr does not. This was a hashtag all-in, by the way, from EnDerr. He's still got his lair on the way because he doesn't have road speed. He's being hunted down. There is no escaping. Roaches are falling left and right, one after the other. And Solar is looking to take the game. He's looking to take the series. Again, Solar, he was able to squeeze out more workers earlier. Boys, they have to be pulled. But again, the advantage that Solar has this time is just too much. With roach speed, he can just kite his heart out as well. A bit of friendly fire, but again, losing one roach, it's not the biggest of deals. Drones have already gone down. Oof. And EnDerr just doesn't have enough. GG gets called, and Solar will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Solar. Again, a pretty solid showcasing here of ZvZ. Nothing too fancy. Everything was pretty straight up, pretty above board. And congratulations as he does advance on. My condolences to EnDerr. Again, he did have a pretty good showing overall. Just a couple of little missteps here and there when it comes to either overcommitting to building units or even getting caught a little bit out of position at times, especially in game 1. That was more the case in game 1. Here in game 2, he himself decided to commit to the all-in and just barely wasn't able to break his opponent. Barely wasn't able to break Solar. Oh. And with that, Solar, he moves on to the next round, and we can take a moment here to have a look at the bracket together.